Tables are a great way to display product assembly information, and Cadasio's handy table builder helps you create them easily with just a few clicks. From the Tools tab, you have access to our table functionality, and from here you can create empty tables, which are great when you want to manually type data in. You can also import tabulated files such as Excel and CSV files, and the meta table is ideal when you require a traditional BOM or parts list. This uses metadata, also known as custom properties, that exist in the parts. So properties such as item numbers, part names and quantity can be populated automatically. Let's create a parts list from this model to explain how some of the table options work. The first thing we're going to do is define the parts that we'd like to include. You can choose to include all the parts in the project, all the visible parts, or choose a selection of parts. If selected is chosen, then by clicking the selection arrow, the table dialog is temporarily hidden whilst you select the parts required. Assembly structures can vary wildly in complexity, from a handful of parts to various levels of subassemblies. This is where the structure option can really help organise your parts list. There are 4 options to control how the meta table displays the structure. Flat maintains any subassembly levels within the list, but runs the numbers continuously. Parts only ignores any subassembly levels and just shows all the parts with continuous numbering. Top level shows any parts or subassemblies that exist at the top level but do not show any subassembly level parts. And nested shows all the parts and subassemblies with indented numbering. Often it's the item number of the part that drives a table. It's important to understand that a part does not have to have the same part number through all the steps. As the item number is a property of a part, it can be modified with each step. Cadasio assigns item numbers by default, but you can override this at any time. One way is to manually go through each component and set its meta properties. This will ensure you get exactly what you need, but will be very time consuming. You can also use the item numbering tool to automatically assign item numbers to parts, and you have various options about the scheme and the structure. This will automatically set the parts metadata for you. Don't forget, if you do either of these options, you'll want to update your step accordingly to save the changes. By default, item numbering is numeric, but there is also the option for alpha, which can be changed from the numbering options. If you'd like new item numbers for every table, you can choose to have the meta table automatically generate them for you. This updates the parts meta property. Group by controls how parts are grouped together for the meta table. Most of the time, the default of item number is suitable. However, grouping by name or internal ID can also be useful in some situations. For assemblies with a large amount of parts, the meta table can become very long. In order to make it more visually appealing, Pagination allows you to set the maximum number of rows to be displayed per page. These pages can then be toggled when the project is viewed in view mode. There are 4 styles to choose from, including classic, dark, modern and simple, ensuring you get the look you need for your project. You can add additional columns to show other properties, or add additional rows for manual input of non-modelled items such as glue or stickers. Once you're happy with your table, click Create Table and place it in your scene. Once placed, you can edit the column spacing by double-clicking or pressing the Adjust Columns button on the property bar. And at any time, you can edit the content of the table by clicking Configure Table, again found on the property bar. It's worth pointing out that you can refresh the contents of a table to reflect any changes that may have been made, such as meta property changes or the visibility of an item. Item number balloons can be easily added from the toolbox, making it simple to understand which part is which from the meta table. Like other markups, simply access the toolbox and then add them to the step. Don't forget, if you pre-select components and then right-click the toolbox item, it will automatically add and attach them. You can then use the transform tools to help position them. Now that I have my table and balloons added, I want to save my step to reflect the changes. If I change to view mode by pressing V, I can preview how it will look, and you'll notice that tables also support cross-highlighting. So if a part is selected in the viewport, it highlights the table, and vice versa. And if I have pagination turned on, I can browse the table and change pages. Great! Well, hopefully this quick tip video has shown you how easy it is to add and control tables within Cadasio. Don't forget to subscribe to Cadasio on all your favourite social media platforms for more tech tips and news.